A reminder to be kind. I will be making up medium as part of the fungal initiation inoculum initiation step for an experiment that I'm starting in February. Oh wait, it is, today is February. So happy new month. I hope it goes well for y'all who are watching. Thank you again for subscribing. I appreciate it. And if you have any questions, comment, suggestion, just leave them in the comment section below. So anyway, yeah, so I'm going to make up some medium, so you'll see some of those steps. While making agar plates, or what's the purpose of agar plates, similar to the soup or the broth, which is the liquid version of the plates. It represents it's a standard growth medium, it's a standard growth support material for microorganisms, whether it's fungus or your bacterium. And depending on what you want to grow or your objective, then you'll have different reagents or nutrients, different constituency in your nutrient source. So because I'm making up agar plates, so the agar plates, they, as I said, they're a standard growth support material in microbiology. And remember that the agar is extracted from seaweed, and so it gives my medium a gel-like semi-solid consistency, and it will have all the nutrients that your particular microbe you're trying to grow or not grow will require. So often it has, definitely for the general one, so you'll have a carbon source, and that's usually in the form of a sugar. Common carbon sources are sucrose, glucose, dextrose, right? Those are the common ones. And you often have a nitrogen source. You can have peptone, maybe some derivative of ammonia, but depending on what you want. But for sure, often it's a carbon source that you'll have, because microbes, they use carbon to fuel their growth, to reproduce, things like that. So that is why I'm making it up. It can be purchased pre-made. It's more expensive, and I think maybe majority of the people who do microbiology work, they just make it up themselves because it's easier. So you can either make it up in different size polystyrene plates, they're plastic plates, or you can make it up in glass. So you can put it on a glass plate, or you can put it in glass jars. But in a lab situation, and making it up on those polystyrene plates, we have the circular ones, and I think we have that square 15 by 15 that you'll see me use. And so yeah, you'll just weigh up the constituency, your ingredients, you boil it. So alternatively, if you say you're doing it at home, you could boil it in your microwave, depending on what you're trying to do. But I put it in the autoclave, and it sterilizes it, allow it to cool, and then once I'm in my sterile area, the biosafety cabinet or the BSC, I will pour the plate. So that step or that exercise or process is called pour plating, because you're just pouring. Often it's 12 to 15 ml in each plate, and then you allow it to solidify, and then yeah, you have your agar plate and you're good to go. It calls for yeast extract, malt extract, sucrose, and agar. So it's sugar rich or carbon rich. So whereas maybe humans are trying to do low carb, some microbes prefer high sugar because they use it as an energy source. So I'm just going to grab the reagents for that, and then you'll see what I do. This is a recipe. So if I'm making up 1000 ml or 1 liter, then I need 4, 4, 4, 4, and 15 of each of the reagents because it's grams per liter. But because I'm going to make 500 ml, so that's half, I need half of all of these. So 2, 2, 2, and then 7.5. This is what the finished product looks like. So they all start as soup, right? So the broth, but this has agar, and because agar is solid, it precipitates out of solution. So that's a white tan cream, solid rim at the bottom. And so before I will sterilize it, I'll give it a good shake, and then once it goes into the autoclave, it cooks really without burning, and then the agar gets dispersed and everything is mixed. Then you see the other part. But I'm not going to sterilize this right now because a technician is coming to certify the BSc, so the biosafety unit that I use to keep things sterile. So I don't like when I'm working to be disrupted. So I'll wait until that person comes in. I'll put this in the autoclave. It takes about an hour, maybe hour 10. And so I'll do that and then go do something else. And like with everything that you sterilize, you put autoclave tape on it. So I'm going to do that. Standard practice. Again, the lines, you can't see them, but then once you're done, they change to black. And again, that's an indicator. If you've tested your autoclave and you know it's working well, then this is an indicator that the run that you sterilize your things on went well, and so you can have confidence that your product has been sterilized and a bacteria, etc., fungus has been killed, and then you can go and do sterile work if you require sterile things. So I'm just putting my initial, today's date. I'm tempted to write 01 for January, and I'm going to put what's on it. So it's YMSA. The Y stands for yeast extract, malt extract, sucrose, and agar. So just in case while I'm doing something else, my run is done and someone needs to use the autoclave, then they know it's mine and they can take it out, leave it in there, or bring it into the room for me. Or if something goes wrong with the autoclave while my run is in it, then they can let me know. And that is where we have I created the autoclave logbook too, just in case something goes wrong, then you can write it in and people can know. As a standard practice, what I like to do, so right now it's screwed very tightly, but before you autoclave it, you gently loosen it, not too loose, but just enough so that the air can escape, it doesn't build up and explode. Then I like putting my autoclave, tape across the lid and the neck. It sort of holds it in place, and also I can know if someone did open it, because then they'll have to break this, which is almost like a seal. No, I'm not drinking mud. It is a protein matcha shake. So I have matcha powder, protein powder, Greek yogurt plain. It's grainy because I put flax in it. Make sure you have a lot of fiber in your diet. Words against colon cancer. So I'm going to empty the BSc and then leave it empty until a technician checks the HEPA filter, ensure that everything is okay for the certification, and then I'll come back and get it ready to work in. I'm going to go sterilize the medium, that's a sugar rich one, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to load and sterilize the BSc in the meantime.
I'm going to change the cycle to liquid.
Yeah, sure.
Hi, Renee.
Everybody is back in the lab because it's extra busy. Not my favorite. But yeah, I'm going to hide out in here or in the growth chamber. Brace yourself, it's loud. I let it stabilize for 2 minutes and then I load it. So I'll spray everything down with 70% ethanol before I put it in. And I try to use one motion so I don't disrupt the airflow. The bag for the garbage. I keep a bottle of ethanol in there just in case. This is the vortex for mixing or agitating.
I'm labeling the base of the plates along the periphery, then I amend the agar with tetracycline to kill any bacteria, and I just eyeball the volume that I pour into the plate, and then I put it to my left, let it solidify, and that will harden it, and then stack them. This is what they look like when they're done.
Beaker with like my markers and some other tools. Tape, pipette, micropipette.
By now the plates have solidified, so I wrap the base and lids together with paraffin to prevent
Small
contamination.
micropipette
I put them
tips.
back into the bag. This is recycle, reuse, label the bag, and then date, etc.
1 ml
Spray everything
or
I'm using the
100
base in with 70%
microliters.
ethanol, including my hands. Let the BSC equalize before I take them out, and I store them at 4 degrees Celsius until use.
Vials of antibiotic. Because remember, I'm making up fungus. I'm growing fungus. This is just a test tube rack. Microcentrifuge tube rack. And then the plates, the petri dishes that I'll be using. This is what it looks like, and inside here glows orange. I'll turn it on so it heats up, and I'll just let it breeze out, equalize, the air equalizes, and then when I'm ready, I'll start my work.
The agar, it didn't dissolve quite well, just some solidification at the bottom, but that's fine. It is hot, so I'm going to spray it down with 70% ethanol before I put it in the BSC, and I let it cool for a bit, like how you do the baby bottle. You test it against your inner wrist, and once it's warm to touch, then I'll pour. While the plates are solidifying, I'm going to go add water to this and scour it, because once the agar solidifies, it's hard to clean. I can't impersonate Marlo, but if you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta, or you first see this meme, ooh, today drained me. No, for real, I'm so tired. Today really drained me. But I'm done for the day, and then I'm just gonna go home and relax.